I just recently saw a video that was called something like, "This is why your apartment always looks a mess." And I was just thinking, yeah, maybe it's also because of existential problems, maybe because of mental health issues. But of course, it's always about like organizational hacks. And that's not the reason why your apartment looks a mess in those moments. Because in those moments, it's really because you are struggling. You are carrying invisible weights with you, which might be everything you're dealing with, which might be your mental health issues, your depression. And people who don't have that weight, who are maybe in a stable realm, for them it's easier to jump around and, just to feel, light and easy. But that's why it's so important not to compare ourselves and not to feel shame, and why it's so important to be kind to ourselves and just create little pockets of safety for ourselves. I want this video to be calming for you and for me. Maybe, even a little energizing, even though I'll be talking about subjects like depression and trauma. Also, right now, it just helps me to take care of my space, to create some safe space through that amidst my breakup and everything else that's going on in my life. But I don't want you, to feel inadequate if you're currently unable to take care of your home. If this video inspires you to make like even a small shift in your space today, that's great. But if not, that's okay too. Please don't feel bad about it. We don't need more judgment or shame when we're already struggling. There they are, these saucy little pigeons. There's only 2 of them. Well, they're so cute. So I just don't want to put anything, to hurt them. But what can I do? Oh, now he's again, right here. Did you see that? Did you see that? And look at that. These little bastards, these little pigeons, they just I know now that's the past tense, right beside my intimidating owl. How could they? It's just... I don't know what I will do when someone from my family dies, when it really happens, because in my mind sometimes I'm imagining it and it's so surreal. But I was actually close to that point 2 years ago when both of my parents almost died, and we're in the emergency room, and it took a very long time for my dad to recover. Actually, I thought, he would never be able to talk or to walk again. And that was it was like pretty traumatic experience, I would say. I haven't fully processed that yet. And each time something happens that triggers that, for example, now with my sister's cancer, it's happening again, or when my mom's heart, starts to make problems again, she has to go to the hospital. It just triggers this experience of overwhelm. I was totally unprepared. And I'm just really so scared of losing my sister or my mom or my dad. And I just want to kind of be prepared for that. But I know that actually there is nothing that can prepare you for that except letting your emotions be there and just not pushing them away. So I never talked about this on my channel before, but I actually struggled with depression as a teenager intensely. And it happened like about 1 or 2 years after my boyfriend at that time died or unalived himself when I was 16 and he was 19. And yeah, that was a very traumatic event, as you can imagine. Even though I just want to say trauma is so personal, individual. It doesn't have to be these big T trauma, these big events, you know. It just can be very subtle events that we wouldn't even label maybe as trauma, and that just can trigger us in unexpected ways or have a very strong impact. Like, for example, you know, the dream birth of what one woman can be the traumatic birth for another woman. So it's just totally individual. I just wanted to say that. So that was very traumatic for me, losing my boyfriend at that time. And also before that, I experienced something traumatic which had to do with intimacy being forced on me. I'm using this wording here on YouTube. It was, I guess, one of the most traumatic experiences in my life, which I didn't realize up until maybe my early 30s, when I went to therapy for the first time. And the therapist explained to me, oh my God, what you've experienced is actually, you know, so I didn't understand it at that time, or I just, you know, pushed it away. And like often in life, you know, if you don't solve or are not able to process an overwhelming event where you felt powerless, something has been forced upon you, something, you know, just pushed you into this survival mode and you just couldn't get out of it. If you are not able to process an event like that, a traumatic event, and another traumatic event happens, you know, it can just turn into this complex of trauma and ultimately can lead to depression. And so for me, my depression came like 1 or 2 years after my boyfriend unalived himself, and I then started to feel extremely numb all the time. I wasn't able to feel any joy anymore, you know? I really felt numb. And it you know, it came in waves. But that was basically kind of the state I was in. If there's something our nervous system wasn't able to process, we have to heal, we have to work through that. That's just how it is. And so I finally started doing that in my early 30s. So, and I'm still working through it. And some experiences, I really have to say that, are just stored in the body, you know? There's a book called, I think, The Body Keeps the Score. It's also about trauma. So, and there are lots of things we have to work through with, I think, somatic experiencing and things like that, where our body is really involved and just empowered to get through those motions of those traumatic experiences, so, you know, that we can really move through it. Not over it, but through it. You know, there is no quick fix. And also, like, tidying up our space, our apartment, is just a way of showing ourselves care and love. If we're doing it, you know, in a non-judgmental way, without, like, always thinking about the outcome and the perfect result. So that shouldn't be the goal. It should be the act of self-care itself, because that sends signals to our nervous system. It really does. It really I read something about the polyvagal theory, or heard a podcast about it, and it really explained how we are always kind of scanning our environment for potential danger, and that each act of creating like safety for ourselves, comfort for ourselves is so powerful, for our parasympathetic nervous system. And so that's why I'm doing this, because I know I'm showing myself love. And it's also the same with cooking, actually, which I will do later. When I haven't been cooking for a while, I just feel there's something missing. Eating healthy is not just about, just putting some quick salads together, which I often do. It's often just the act of cooking and preparing and something with love and trying to be mindful during that. Yeah, that was really weird hearing this song that was played at the funeral of my boyfriend back then, father and son. But in moments like these, I just feel it's more than coincidence. I just feel it's also more than just synchronicity. It's just kind of a connection that I feel to him. And you know what was funny? When I walked out of the supermarket onto the street again, the song that was playing was If You Want to Sing Out, Sing Out by Cat Stevens, which is from the movie Harold and Maude, which kind of saved my life back then. The theme song of this movie is If You Want to Sing Out, Sing Out, which is kind of an ode to life. And, I just took it as, you see, please don't lose hope. and don't lose joy. And yeah, because there's a million things to be, you know that there are. And here I just want to show you that really quickly. That's, oh my god, that's actually like my big memory book of my boyfriend. I have like some paintings here, some old letters, some old photographs. It's weird that the day that I'm kind of talking about him and his depression, my depression, how on this day these two songs just out of nowhere just appeared.